In this video, we're going to talk about how we can use the Collide library to make stronger conditionals and make things happen. So I am going to go ahead and pop this into full screen mode. And so the big question is, do we need Collide? The answer is no. We could write our own conditionals to check if there's been a collision. We would need to know, okay, is the mouse Y, let me get my laser pointer, between 40 and is it between 200? So is it greater than 40 and less than 200? And is the mouse X greater than 20, between 20, and less than 140, between 140? So ultimately, that would make a very long conditional that looked like this. If mouse Y is greater than 40 and mouse Y is less than 200 and mouse X is greater than 20 and mouse X is less than 140, then do whatever we want to do. Or we could use Collide. Now, one thing I will say is that this specific thing is actually what Collide is doing. Collide has written this function or this algorithm so that you don't need to use it. When we connect to the Collide library, we're connecting to their alternative JavaScript file, just like we do when we add another file. So we are going to go ahead. Oops, this is a repeat. That's not as pretty. We're going to go ahead and try this together. So open up this tiny URL. This is a reminder that you should pause this video, rewind this video, do whatever you need so you get this information. Okay, as you can see, my first reminder for you is when using Collide, we first need to link it to the editor. So just like before, when we would come, we'd make a new create a file called like functions.js, and then we'd come into the HTML and we would add it. We need to do the same thing with our Collide library. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remind you that we go to P5 Collide. It's the first link. We're going to scroll down. I'll make this a little bit bigger until we see Get Started. And then we copy just the bottom link. Then we're going to come into our code. We are in the index.html. Come to the end of line 13 and paste. And you'll notice that in the console now, it should say P5 Collide. Okay. So what I want to do today, I'm going to be in the draw function, is when I collide with the first rectangle, I want it to turn pink and the other shapes to turn dark gray. Now, hopefully you recognize that in order to change the color of each shape, we're going to need to make a variable for each rectangle. So I'm going to come and I'm going to make some variables. I'm going to do var rect1, var rect2, var l1, and var l2. I'm going to put myself in HSB color mode because that's how I like it. And I'm going to start them all at some sort of like medium gray. Rect1 equals color, I don't know, maybe 75. I'm going to do them all that way. Rect2 is 75. L1 is color 75. And L2 is color 75. And don't forget that the last thing you need to do is you need to use your variable. So I'm going to fill rect1, fill rect2, fill rect3, and fill rect4. These are not called rect3. They're called L1 and L2. Great. So now I'm going to use Collide to, when I collide with the first rectangle, I want it to turn pink and the other shapes to turn gray. So I'm going to come into my Collide library, and I'm going to remind you that if you scroll down, you can see all of these lovely things. I think I'm going to do a point and a rect. And I personally, if you remember, like to highlight this little example code and put it at the top as a comment. So I'm going to set up my if collide point rect. We generally do mouse X, mouse Y. And then the numbers of our rectangle, 25, 50, 50, 100. The first thing I want to do is console.log. And I think I'm going to say first rect pink, others gray. You can see it saying that. So I want to change the color, so that would be rect1 equals color, and I'm going to make it a pink color. That worked, but I want the other ones to be darker. So rect2 equals color, maybe we do 30. Okay, so let's check it out. Now you'll notice it did not go back, and the reason it did not go back is I have not created an else yet. Else, I want all of my colors to go back to what they were. I think they were at 75. Keep doing that. And then we're going to run. And now it's able to go back. Okay, my guess is that that feels a little bit of a review to you, and I hope it is at least somewhat familiar. The one thing I want to show you is that I want to do the same thing, but for the second rectangle. Okay, we already have variables set up for the color, and I'm going to, and in fact, I would suggest just pausing on your following along and just watching this part of the video. If I collide with the second rectangle, make it green and the others gray. Okay, so if I set up a new collide, if I can see this from up here, it's right there. If I do collide, oh, forgot my curlies, can't do that. If collide point rect mouse X, mouse Y is, second rectangle is 125, 50, 50, 100. We're just going to start with a console.log, hit second rectangle, make green and others gray. Okay, it's working right now. I don't know if you can see that. It's saying hit second rectangle. The first one's still working. And so I would go along this same process. And in your head, you're like, Ms. Schumann, we get it. We know, duh. But I just want to do it for a second. I'm going to say that rect1 is going to be gray. It's going to be that 30. Rect2 is going to be green. L1 is going to be gray. And L2 is going to be gray. Okay, let's check it out still. Okay, cool, that's working. Cool, that's working. Now, one thing I want to do is I just want to show you what would happen if I added the else that we are so familiar with. If I add the else, which would be saying, in fact, it would be this exact same else. I want them all to go back to gray. Watch what happens. This is working. But this one is no longer working. It's telling me down here that my first rectangle should be pink, but it is not actually. And the reason is because I have this first conditional set and this second conditional set, and both of them are trying to manage the colors. If, and I'm going to add this as a comment at the top, if you have conditionals that are controlling the same variables, they should be within the same if, else set. They should not be in new sets. Because what's happening is, even though I said if I was here, I want it to be pink, it's continuing to run the code sequentially, remember sequencing, and it's getting to the bottom. It's saying, well, if I wasn't on this one, then I'm supposed to be light gray, no matter that I'm there. So what I would suggest doing is I would suggest, instead of having a new if, I'm going to comment out the else, you popping it in the middle as an else if. What that will do is that will make it so that both of them work. And since they're sharing the same variables, they will share the same else as well. Okay, what I would like you to make happen is when one rectangle is selected, make it white and make other rectangles a different color. When one rectangle is selected, make a random shape appear on the canvas. Okay, excited to see what you can make.